Typically, NA was never famed as a Counter-Strike nation.
Here it is. There we go. Yeehaw! Yeah, that's pretty good. I'll take that. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. Really felt like I was in the Wild West.
Europe dominated throughout the early stages.
He's going to throw the AWP. Oh my god! Simple! What is happening?
The Golden Five, Na'Vi, SK being among some of the most legendary teams to grace the game. However, since the dawn of Global Offensive, North Americans have been on the rise.
They've taken it at the fourth map. The favourites coming into the
Although formed at the turn of the millennium, Team Liquid didn't dip their toe into the CSGO pool until January 2015, when they would sign the former Denial Esports roster. They'd swipe up Daps, Nav, Adren, Nitro, and Fugly as their first full roster, alongside Warden as their coach. The team's first major would be Clutch to Poker 2015, but they wouldn't exactly start their run particularly well. They'd lose out 0-2 in groups to both Ninjas in Pajamas and Virtus Pro.
Just brought it up, and there it is. It only takes one bullet. NIP will play the best of 3 decider matches. They'll survive the first test. And for Liquid, well, Group of Death was always going to be extremely tough for them.
2016, however, would dawn a new era. In a huge move, they'd sign Simple, still one of the best players in the world at the time.
Not quite, but then takes him down straight away, but Simple, he's coming back in with an AK. Oh, again, what is with this guy?
For the first major of the year, the squad would also feature Elige and Hiko. They'd pull out of groups 2-0. And in the quarterfinals, Liquid would face up against another North American rival and rising talent in Counter Logic Gaming. There was no question that Liquid were going to be representing NA, with 2 swift map wins to head to the semis.
1-2 now. CT's going to be coming in aggressively, but Hiko with another. Looking for the third as well. It's going to be Elite to finish things off, and another man advantage thrown away from CLG.
But the semi-finals weren't going to go down as easy. Luminosity would get 10 consecutive rounds, taking it to overtime and securing it 19-15.
Once again, the first base is Adren. He's going to hit the ground there as Cold. Oh, what? A jumping double for Cold! What is going on right now? How does he do this?
But surely the same fate couldn't happen again, right? Well, you'd be wrong. Liquid would once again get to 15 rounds, with the Brazilians only having 6 to their name, and they'd repeat the exact same move. With an unbelievable 19-16 victory, it was a heartbreaking loss for Liquid.
You came back from the brink of map point again and again and again in game 1, and then again in map 2, 15-6 down to come back, and 2 lots of overtime. How does that work?
They wouldn't get a major title, but they would claim the title as Kings of Choking. And so the memes began. Fast forward to ESL One Cologne 2016, and Liquid would once again make it to the championship final stage, this time with JDM also on side. They'd once more have a smooth rise out of the groups 2-1, heading straight into the quarterfinals against CIS giants Na'Vi, who at the time were a clear-cut top 5 team and hungry to lift the trophy. Although Na'Vi would begin hot, eventually Liquid would flip the series in their favour and head straight to the semi-finals against Fnatic, which again, they'd win.
Simple just jumping casually into the side. He's going to fall down again. What is this flag from Simple? Are you serious? What is that? You can't do that, Simple. That's not allowed. This is not FPL. This is a major.
Simple, I don't know, man. If he comes in with that, this
It was a no-scope.
They were now higher than they'd ever placed at a major before, with only one more game standing between them and the Cologne 2016 major trophy. And what made this game even more significant, it was essentially a rematch of the Columbus 2016 semi-final. They'd be taking on SK Gaming, the same roster as former Luminosity, who coming into this major would be looking to defend their title. Unfortunately for Liquid, they would do so with ease.
But it's just not going to happen. SK Gaming, second major championship in a row. They are your winners.
At this time, the Brazilians were at their peak, and no team were able to stop them. Liquid would once again lose out to their rivals and bow out of the major. Shortly after finishing second in Cologne, Simple would be acquired by Natus Vincere, and in his place, Pimp would step up. 2017 would break with the Atlanta Major, and another middle-of-the-pack result, placing 9th to 11th. The rest of 2017 would be quiet, but they would make one notable change, Twists. Unknowingly at the time, he was a player who would go on to become one of the most notable names in NA.
Oh, Twist! He beats him
beating the Deagle. He's got confidence in his name, and he sees it as RBK is bounce!
But hold your horses. There's a few more bumps in the road until we can get into that. The rest of 2018, however, would see a steady increase in the team results. CS Summit 2 would see them lift their first LAN trophy of the year, followed by 3rd to 4th place at IM Season 12 and 2nd at iBuyPower Spring Invitational. The stellar form would continue into the FACEIT London Major. As returning challengers, Liquid would bang out of the first 2 stages 3-0, even taking down hot favourites Astralis.
Not good enough though, and now it's played below. There's one, and there's another one from Napai. Liquid win the match.
Liquid were in pole position coming into Wembley, and they prove it, knocking out the underdogs of Hellraisers 2-1.
Look how precise this is, it's just crispy clean.
Then came the match of the century, facing the Danes once again. They'd already taken them down once this major. Surely they could do it again.
Ladies and gentlemen, Astralis with one map in the bag. Liquid backs to the wall now. Who will make it to the grand final? This map might decide it.
If you hadn't already guessed by the nature of this video, yeah, Liquid wouldn't do it.
Wembley, give it up. Your second grand finalists, Astralis.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. The FACEIT Major marked a clear-cut Astralis era. But that wasn't to say that Liquid weren't good. They'd continue to rake in 2nd place after 2nd place, from New York to Odense, until the end of the year. 2019 would see a sudden rise in form. Astralis, after so much time in the spotlight, would slowly start to crumble. Skipping tournaments and a slight slip in results, this would open up space for other teams to climb to the highest level. And that shift heavily favoured Liquid. The Intel Grand Slam was where Liquid would lay their eyes. The journey started off in Sydney, an event that Astralis would skip, and subsequently the North Americans would take 1st place over Fnatic. A few weeks later, and another victory in DreamHack Dallas, and shortly after that, a win at the ESL Pro League Finals at the expense of Jisoo in their home country. This left just one more event to tick off their list to complete the 2nd Intel Grand Slam ever. ESL 1 Cologne 2019. Sure enough, Liquid would make it all the way to the Grand Finals once again, slaying NRG and Na'Vi to meet their final boss, Vitality. After so many 2nd place finishes, Liquid would finally do it.
Serious trouble. That should do it. There we go. It's Team Liquid, and that's what it means to them. They've taken it as the 4th map. The favourites coming into the tournament have just unlocked the Intel Grand Slam.
They take a title that many other teams would only dream of, the Intel Grand Slam. They would secure their $1 million prize in a mere 63 days from start to finish. It was an incredible achievement, and would cement themselves as the best team in the world. But there was still one thing not ticked off their list: a major. The proving ground would be Berlin for the Star Ladder Major. They'd just come off the back of the Intel Grand Slam, a streak of trophies, and had some of the greatest players in North America. This was their major to lose. Having placed 5th to 8th in Katowice, they'd skip straight past challengers into legends. They begin by taking down Crazy, but quickly falling to NRG and Avanga, leaving Liquid fans across the world holding their breath. Still, they'd rebound with 2 wins over North and Mousesports to head to the champion stage in the Mercedes-Benz Arena. But nothing is ever simple for Liquid, which they'd soon find out.
Astralis will meet Team Liquid in the quarter-finals. Due to their own negligence in the previous stage of competition, they will not meet later, and instead only one will head to the semi-final.
With Liquid's recent run of form and Astralis' slump, many still elected Liquid as the eventual victors. The series would start on the Danes' map pick, a surprise pick Vertigo.
Oh my God. Oh, it's happened, the curveball.
They've gone and done it, right?
A new addition to the map pool, Vertigo, and it's here in the quarter-final.
Astralis put their money where their mouth was on Vertigo, locking it down 16-8. But still, there was time for Liquid, with Overpass just around the corner.
Now Nav has to recover. The Deagle, he must be aggressive and he can't land it. A triple kill for Dupree.
It was a map that would begin close.
Alone in a 1 versus 2, he takes one and
But Astralis were not defending major champions for no reason, and it fell apart for Liquid.
There's Device, and there's Astralis 16 to 13. They take down Team Liquid, and they're going to be in the semi-finals.
A major that, in theory, should have been theirs. Liquid would fall. Heartbreak would ensue once more.
I mean, obviously we tried our best. and there's obviously a lot more things that we could have done.
Was it really an era without a major title? Many dispute that, but for Liquid, they certainly don't want to be left with a legacy of choking. They're hungry to make their climb back to #1, and maybe one day, Liquid will get their white wedding.